We only talk about it if it's stamped. Coming from a certified camp. Honorable mention where the real don't bend. We salute the stand-up type on all 10. Just keeping it a buck, not dealing with fake trends. This is certified, it's so certified. Got Blizz back in the playtime, Brady type. And Buck got his ear to the streets, we gon' eat. With Tiff on that fashion, you know we ain't lacking. Me, I'm a music man, check my stats. With legendary access, boy, that's no cap. What you thought? We ain't doing it for sport. Welcome to Certified Talk.
Yeah.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Wiz Gam.
It's your boy King Jones 80. We back.
We back, mother jumpers,
Mother
as
suckers.
Buck would say. We had a little hiatus, but we back, man. And we got a very important, very important guest in here.
Reoccurring guest.
Yes, reoccurring, and he got a lot to say. We're going to learn some things today, again, because he taught us well the last time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make it to the gun range or whatever. Gun class. I didn't make it, but introduce yourself, brother.
Richard Oliver, owner of the Parapet Group, LLC, an armed security company and law enforcement training company located in Philadelphia, and we operate Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania.
So we got a lot to discuss with the current events that's going on in Philly, with the current gun violence and a climate of just chaos in our city right now.
City out of control right now. Something crazy.
How do we fix it? If it can be fixed, how do we fix it?
You asking him for the answer?
Yes. I'm asking both of you guys the answers.
I don't know if it's something that can be fixed. America and people in general, just mankind in general, violent. We're violent, and some countries, and we're one of the more violent countries than anywhere else on the planet, but man is violent. You talk about this gun violence and gun crime, you're talking about America, where some estimates there are anywhere from, best guess, 700-800 million guns to 1 billion guns for 330 million people.
Damn.
Wait. What did you say?
There in America, the best guess estimates, and pretty accurate, probably there are anywhere from 700 to 800 million guns to over 1 billion guns in America.
Who needs all those freaking guns?
And then to further talk about those statistics, you'll take places like South Dakota and the Midwest, where the population is more rural and it's not as dense or heavily populated, and some of those people own 100 guns or more.
A piece.
One person.
One person.
Dang.
So you've seen some of the media since Texas and Buffalo. You've seen some of the media coverage where they'll have these photo spreads where people will come out and lay their guns all over their house or on their front lawn. There are many people that own, 60, 70, 100 guns. That'll make up for the people who don't own any, right? So this is where we're at. So where and how would you be able to get rid of 800 to 1 billion guns?
Right.
It'll never happen.
Right.
Just to even make a law and then try to you can't even get rid of that. That's just a monumental task, right?
Well, here's the part. You probably could start with not selling the parts online for the ghost guns.
What about the ghost guns?
I mean, that's what mostly all the kids is getting to kill people with the ghost guns.
So where'd you get that statistic from?
From the streets.
Okay.
That's my part of the segment. I'm the streets.
I'm sure people are getting some ghost guns, but Philadelphia and then the country in general, just take the FBI statistics. Last year, little over 21,000 murders.
Damn.
So in Philadelphia, you have 500, right? So then you'll have to remember one thing, which we talked about on the last segment I was on. These are murders. But your violent crime statistics is over 1 million. Not everyone who gets shot dies. So in 500 murders, we're shooting 2,500 people. Then you'll take places like Chicago. They'll have close to 2,000 murders, but you're 9,000 shootings. That's in 52 weeks, 365 days. They're shooting 8,000 to 9,000 people, right?
Feel like living in war zone.
But these statistics that we're talking about are not the worst. We have lived in times when they were worse. In Philadelphia, in the 80s, when the JBM and the Jamaican posses were around, the city would be close to 500 murders, 499 murders. We were shooting about 2,500. But you take into account places like New York City, which has a low crime rate compared to what it had in the 80s and 90s.
Wow.
They were shooting 2,500. They were murdering 2,500 people. New York's murder rate is probably around 600-700, way less than Chicago or other places.
Right.
So what happens is when you have this type of crime, eventually, some point, you'll get to the point like they did in the 80s after the Reagan shooting when they passed the Brady bill. It took them 7 years to get it. So
Reagan had to get shot.
Reagan had to get shot, but Brady was his press secretary. He got shot in the forehead, and he lived, and they passed the Brady bill. It took them 8 years to get it through the Senate and through the House. So they tried since 88. I think it became law. It passed in 93, took effect in February of 94. And the Brady bill, if you're old enough to remember it, in 94 when it took place, it lasted, I believe, 5 years. Then they came out with the NICS, FBI came out with that statistic background check. The Brady bill stated that you went to purchase a gun, you had a 5-day wait. And local law enforcement and state law enforcement had 5 days to do a background check. There was one loophole in Philadelphia, if we want to talk a loophole. During the advent of the Brady bill, if you had a Philadelphia carry permit, you could still get your gun without a wait. But everyone else who didn't have a permit in Philadelphia had to wait 5 days. And they say some of the statistics for the first year of the Brady bill, like it stopped 4 million people from getting a gun, when they did those background checks. But you still had massive amounts of violence and shootings,
Right.
So I don't know. The problem isn't just one facet or one cautionary tale. There are many different facets: economics, education, parenting, social ills. There are a lot of different things that go into this thing. So you're not going to solve it by one thing and you're going to say getting rid of guns. So you'll take, for instance, Buffalo. You'll take Texas. There was the Asian church where they had their 4 shootings. In between that, then you'll take Oklahoma at the doctor's office, at the hospital.
Yeah.
And you'll say, okay, these crimes were committed with the AR-15, right? And it's horrendous. Every crime is horrendous. Every murder is horrendous. Who are we to say that his life is less than that person's life? A life is a life. Everyone is someone's child, is someone's brother, father, relative, right? So the media emphasizes one over another.
Right.
One's worth more than another. So we didn't hear much about Buffalo this year. No one really said anything.
Which I have a problem with.
Nothing.
I have a problem because when any other race, when something got done to the Asians, no disrespect to the Asians, but a bill was passed.
Hate crime.
Hate crime
Asian
bill.
hate crime. Correct.
Black people been getting murdered by the hundreds, the thousands. Nothing gets done. People could go in churches like this ain't the first incident. The Buffalo incident ain't the first incident where a white supremacist came into a place where it's predominantly black and just shoot the place up. No government, no president, no nothing. They ain't signing no type of bills. But you let it be a hate crime on gay people. Gay people got shot up, a mass shooting. We're passing a bill, hate crime against gay people. You let Asian people, we're passing this bill. Anybody else but black people, why? Why? It seemed like they want to keep the guns in the black community and everything that surrounds it, the music, TV, everything promotes us hurting one another. Everything promotes it.
I mean, it ain't a secret.
Everything.
Why you ask? Why?
Nothing gets done. I'm not asking why. I'm not asking why. I know why. It's the fear of black men. That's why. They don't fear. They fear our love. Because if you like, Tank said this one very important thing on Drink Champs I was watching. It's not it's not the aggression that they fear, but they fear the example of a black man giving love, because if you could love on your woman, love on your children, the family's together. So if you could keep us at odds and killing one another,
Right.
you can erase us.
That's why that's the only music they promote now.
Everything
Exactly.
promotes it. Like it's almost like
It's not even no good R&B music no more.
just think about what happened down South Street, right? And I need your answer on this, because the one guy was licensed to carry.
They both was.
There were three of them.
Oh, all of them were licensed to carry?
Yes. Well, except for the young guys that got caught today, but the three that were fighting.
That was in the other thing?
Tussle, yeah, they were
all three of them.
licensed to carry. All
I
So-
believe it just was two of them that was like.
Who goes to jail in that instance?
I watched the video because we've all seen the video, and I couldn't understand where the guy in the white shirt that was walking down the street, he had the gun out first.
Yeah.
He had the white tee, and he was the one who died.
Yeah.
Right? And he had the gun out first, but I couldn't understand when these two gentlemen are approaching the guy, he's just standing there looking at him.
either.
No run. He didn't run or anything. We knew it was going to be violence because it's already depicted as told. But he didn't run. He didn't try to flee. He didn't do anything.
Right.
And they tried to grab him. They tussled him. They throw him to the ground.
couldn't understand
And then
none
the
of that.
shootout starts.
Right.
He's not the aggressor. You know what I mean? They have a stand the ground law, self-defense. I understand later that they ended up charging him, but it's easy to get charged here. Don't mean that that's a winnable
they
case.
said they didn't charge
Oh, they
him.
didn't charge him.
No, they didn't charge him.
Right, but he was totally self-defense. He was in the right. He was no way
The
the
person that's
aggressor.
gonna get charged is the other party. That's with the boy that got
Oh, the
killed.
one that didn't die.
Yeah, he gonna get charged.
Right.
Did he get shot too?
Yes. I don't know if the person who they attacked.
The one with
did he
the
ever
jean
get shot?
jacket on.
The one that got attacked got shot too.
He got shot too.
Yeah, because his legs, he lost his legs. Well, not lost it, but
When he crawled away.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So,
So,
he probably had a leg.
You know, so that explains that.
So
I mean,
he's in the right. So he's not gonna go to jail.
right.
So in that scenario, he did the right thing. But what if he pulled out his gun? Once the guy pulled his gun out, did he have the right to pull his gun out and shoot him in that? instant?
Absolutely.
And he wouldn't have went to
You wanna
jail.
be dead?
So what happens
Huh?
is
You want to be dead?
But he didn't pull it out though. He
don't
just
know why.
he waited, but listen, he waited, and I guess a cautionary tale. So we'll talk about gun control, and we'll talk about that incident. So
This episode is brought to you by Family Affair Home Care. Are you looking for quality care and companionship for your loved ones? Look no further, because Family Affair is just right for you. They provide caregivers that are compassionate, and they treat your family like they're their own. Also, they have a $500 sign-on bonus for caregivers. If you're interested, call this number right here, 215-687-7559. Again, if you're interested, call 215-687-7559. That's Family Affair Home Care.
They're hiring for all shifts right now.
this is something that they're missing. They say gun control, gun control, gun control, and especially here in Philadelphia. But you'll take Pennsylvania. You know, you pay your $21 and you apply for your gun permit. And if you don't have a record, they give it to you. They never ask you, do you own a gun or if you've ever fired one. It's not a prerequisite. It's not a prerequisite to know any gun laws.
Wow.
How about that? So Philadelphia, Pennsylvania also. Philadelphia, I think for years they were giving out 20,000 plus. I heard a statistic that maybe 70,000 people have applied for a gun permit over the past year. And 21, that's what I heard that number. But I know they used to do 20,000 annually. And grant them, no one has to prove that they know how to shoot a gun or even if they own one. No one has to study any laws on self-defense, gun laws, or anything. You pay your $21, you wait your time, and you get a gun permit.
Right.
In Pennsylvania. So the facet of what you're asking and some of the things are intricate, and there are many different reasons. So how do they give out gun permits and they don't make you go train anywhere? Unlike states such as Florida, Virginia, Utah, North Carolina, Delaware, for instance, you want to get a gun permit, you have to take a 40-hour course. by a state-approved instructor. You have to put an ad in the local newspaper and run it for, I think, 30 days.
Saying you're getting a gun.
That you're applying for a gun permit.
I think you're onto something here for Philadelphia.
But Philadelphia, nothing. $21, no training. They don't ask if you have a gun. You don't have to know any laws, and you get a gun permit.
I think that could slow it up. What you just suggested, like the classes that goes on in all those other states. I think that could slow it up a little bit.
The gun people with license to carry is not mainly the people who does overall. Is not the people that's out here killing just to be killing.
They're not.
It's the ones without the licenses get busy.
Well, and look at what happened on South Street. They had license.
Yeah, that was one situation. But then they say the other situation where they say 18-year-old shouldn't be able to go and purchase an AR-15.
But an 18-year-old could go to war.
Yeah.
So it's like they got to make their minds up. An 18-year-old can't purchase a firearm. So let me ask you this. Do you think that shooting was a mass shooting? Because I have my opinion on it.
So what happened, and I don't remember exactly when, but this is stuff by the FBI and the Justice Department. So I forget what the number is. Maybe you could look it up.
2 or 3?
I don't know. It's either 3 or 4 is what they declare a mass shooting.
Right.
So it's 3 or 4. One or the other is declared a mass shooting.
Right.
So you'll take Philadelphia, Chicago, Houston, Baltimore, Stockton, Atlanta, Miami. We have mass shootings daily, weekly, right? But this AR-15, if it's other than black people, when you get these, they're sensationalized. Listen, I have a granddaughter who's 8 years old, about to be 9. That thing in Texas is horrible. If you watch the hearings, horrendous. You watch the emergency doctor, horrible. I can't even imagine. But when it first happened, and the next day they had the pictures of all the kids and the 2 teachers. And then for days they told their stories and stories. But what about the 9-year-old that gets shot in Philadelphia? The 4-year-old that gets shot in Philadelphia? We just hear that they're 4 years old, they shot, they're dead.
And then that's it.
And we never know their name.
Yeah,
we don't know how many brothers and sisters they have. We don't know what they liked. We don't know what their favorite pet was, their toy was. We don't know what grade they're in. There's nothing.
Right.
And that happens in this city and in cities, urban cities, every day, every week, to the tune of thousands, thousands upon thousands of people, of us, and we don't hear one thing. The same thing when you hear of a police officer who do an amazing job, some of them, and they get killed in the line of duty. We'll hear about them for a whole week. Are their lives any more valuable than the 500 people who will get killed all year in Philadelphia? And they won't mention there's a $20,000 reward for every murder. They don't even mention the reward anymore. You know, in this times, it's tougher, stuff is tight.
I think they did mention a reward for the South Street.
South Street is $30,000.
Yeah,
the reward is $30,000.
Because it's a mass shooting.
Just like
it's in their neighborhood.
It's in their neighborhood. So then the other thing is, you'll mention that Queen Village is not a bad neighborhood, but they had this one shooting, and they had the mayor and the police commissioner there the same week.
Right.
The same week. What about those terrible zip codes, Tioga, Westmoreland, North Philly?
They're not coming.
Where they say the Badlands, where the murders and the shootings are an epidemic proportions, and you'll never get anyone to have a press conference there.
It's designed.
Right?
But I'm going to tell you this much. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be disclosing this information, but I don't even care. Same thing with working for the city. They got their areas that's priority.
Wow.
And you know what the priority, what I mean, is that go to them neighborhoods, make sure that job get finished real fast, and then the other neighborhoods there's a job to sit there for, a week or 2.
So is that why we got like all those potholes? Like, oh man.
Potholes just from salt and
well, check this out. Why you
but they'll go fix them in those other areas.
So that's something that we should be asking our elected officials. Who is it down Queen Village that had the juice to get the commissioner, the mayor, and the DA there that week? And why in a city where we have, black police chief, black city officials, and you go from Wilson Good all the way to now we got Jim Kenney, but it hasn't benefited the black people at large to any degree, right? So you have one shooting down there, which was horrendous, and with that week, it's all over the news. They won't stop talking about it every day. They went to Virginia to pick the people.
Well,
it's been a few incidents down there.
Yeah, it was like 2 back to back or whatever.
It's been 2 back to back, and then on 2nd and Bainbridge, somebody got shot down there, murdered around the corner near Elvez. Then you had it's been a few shootings in that area, like. These things were unheard of really down South Street. South Street was a place you went to for fun. Yeah. You went down there to have fun.
Even with the Greek and all that, it wasn't no shootings. And that was massive people from
and it got buck wild at the Greek, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Nobody ain't think about killing nobody. Everybody wanted to have fun. Yeah.
Piccadilly.
Yeah.
Freaky. You get freaky, but it wasn't no.
I'm just still having an issue and a problem with. I understand these ghost guns and people buying these ghost guns, but why? Where's all? It's like they're flooding them. It's like they dropping a bucket, a basket, or a barrel of guns. Go ahead, pick the guns out.
Right.
Well,
everybody has a gun.
Okay, so you talk about these ghost guns in particular. The gun show will be in 2 days, tomorrow.
Wow.
It starts tomorrow up in the Oaks.
Okay.
And you're going to see ghost guns all over for sale.
What you mean by that?
They sell them at the gun show.
They sell ghost.
They legal to sell?
Listen, yes, they sell them.
Wow.
They sell them at the gun show in Oaks. The gun shows in Harrisburg, in New York, in Williamsport, out near Pittsburgh, Monroeville. They sell them all over.
So they don't look at a person. Let's just say a person coming in and buy 10 ghost guns. They not looking at that person?
Person buys 10 ghost guns. The ATF and the agents in there, they're going to be following him. They'll go visit. They'll see him. They'll be undercover agents there. You buy 10 ghost guns, but they'll find them. But
it seems like that's what's happening.
They're selling them like they're selling a table of ghost guns, and then there's a table of guns where you have to do an FFL check. But the ghost guns are legal because you have to do some engineering and hardware work. You'll have to be like a little gunsmith to put it together.
So let me ask you this.
Wow.
Does the ghost gun have a serial number?
None whatsoever.
Wow. So how is that? I thought you couldn't have a gun without a serial.
Because technically,
that was federal.
technically it's not a gun. You have to do a lot of maneuvering, shaving, and a lot, gunsmithing to put it together.
Yeah.
So it's technically not a gun. It has some edges that they have to be ground down. So technically, it's not a gun. Then the parts for the internal parts technically aren't sold as one piece.
So you said technically it's not a gun, right?
Right.
But if you get arrested for it, it's a gun.
You'll get arrested for it because you put it together and it is a gun. But
now you
can't get arrested for just having
the pieces.
Yeah, because they're selling them. I mean, they're selling them by the hundreds. They're sitting on the table there, and there are different people selling them. If you visit the gun show and starts tomorrow, they're going to be all over.
That's crazy.
They're going to be like guns, PM80, PM.
That's crazy.
They're selling them.
So listen,
different colors.
Say you put the gun together, but you don't do the proper shaving and all that stuff.
It won't go together. You have to do some gunsmithing to put it together.
Okay.
You must get some tools. You must have some kind of mechanical ability to put it together. And technically, if you purchase it, you must do it yourself. You can't take it to anyone else. No one else can do it. You technically, legally have to do it yourself.
Well, that's some good gunsmiths in the hood then.
Yeah,
because everybody got a ghost gun.
I think everybody can find out everything off of YouTube.
Yes.
So that's what I think most of them is.
So you think they online watching and then just put them together?
They
for sure. That's where the most info comes from.
That's where it comes
YouTube
from.
is a class.
Yo, man.
So that's it.
Some of the kids, some of these, they could be the smartest people in the world, but they using it to do the wrong shit.
Yeah.
It's at your fingertips.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Information's at your fingertips.
That's disturbing.
So tomorrow,
that's disturbing.
Saturday and Sunday, the ATF is going to be there. Undercover agents are going to be there. The FBI is going to be there. And you're going to see people buying ghost guns like crazy. And then you'll have some people.
You going to buy one?
Some work. Yeah, I'm going to come give me some work.
So
Don't do
Ain't
it,
buying
bro.
no ghost shit.
Don't do it. I'm about to say, don't do it. Don't you go get no ghost gun.
Ain't getting no ghost shit.
and
But you licensed to carry. Can you have a ghost gun when you licensed to carry?
Tell the whole world what's going
the
on.
ghost gun is legal. The ghost gun is a legal gun. The ghost gun is legal. It's not illegal.
Let me get
yet.
my license to carry.
The ghost gun is not illegal yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
You think
Trying to
it'll be?
work on-
You think it's gonna be outlawed?
They're trying, but it's been going. The ghost gun has been around for.
What you call it? NRA? I don't think they gonna have it.
This ghost gun's been around for a while.
The good old boys ain't having that.
So then you say this AR-15 ban, right? So they're specifically saying the black gun, the AR-15, and they want to ban that particular gun, right? So which we told you before the last time I was here, the rifle is a high-powered weapon, point blank, period.
Right.
And statistics don't lie. So if you shoot someone with a handgun, 15 to 20, 22, 23% of the people will die. The rest will survive. When you change that weapon to a rifle, the lethality of a rifle is 85% or greater. So we look at that shooting in Texas, everyone. No one lived. It was 100%.
Which one was that?
The Rob's Elementary School.
Yeah.
So we shot everyone, and no one survived. Not one person survived, right? Because that's the lethality along the numbers of what a rifle is. So you want to ban semi-automatic rifles, or you want to ban specifically the AR-15. That's one type of rifle. You're still going to have lever action rifles, other type of rifles, and shotguns. So you're going to have still high-powered stuff if you just get rid of this model.
But they saying with those, I guess that's the one they're using, and they could pick off a lot of people at a time. Like the there was a gay concert or something when all the people got killed at that.
That was the Well, it was 2017 Las Vegas, where the outdoor concert.
Oh, yeah.
And 800 and something people were injured. He shot 400 something. Some of them got trampled, but he shot 400. Close to 500 people with rifles from that hotel room. Remember, he cut the window out and he just stayed in the town. It took so long for the police to engage him, and then he killed himself when they were at his hotel room. So what we know from the past and from all of these shootings is that when you can engage someone within a minute or 2 minutes, you stem the tide and you slow the tide. I'll ask you guys a question. We just give Ukraine almost $100 million plus, if not more. $1 billion with a B, I'm sorry. And you have in America, where we have our most prized possession, that's our children, in schools without anyone being armed. Why don't we pass something that will encompass that putting an armed guard in every elementary and middle school and high school? So Middletown, New Jersey said they're going to take a vote later on this year. They're proposing for that school district in Jersey. And I saw 2 days ago that they want to put armed guards in every elementary and middle school, and they want them to be private security officers.
That's cool. But look at the flip side of that.
That's gonna look like a prison.
Yeah,
Schools
that's
already
for one.
designed like
they
a
already
prison.
got it like that with the lunchrooms and the school bus, the same as the. But look at it this way: suppose that the security guard is a little off, and he have a bad day or whatever, and he go to school and just tip on everybody.
I mean, how do you guard against someone having a bad day or?
But then they
being
say,
mentally,
take the guns out of the school. Then, like it's really.
Yeah, it's like you damn if you do, damn if you
Yeah, it
don't.
was same like they was trying to get the teachers at the colleges and stuff to be packing.
Well, you guys forget. So the other thing is that with us, black people, we need to study history. We don't know our own history, but we need to study history better because we're going to go back again. And I was actually able to see this training and privy to this training and went to a class. So after 9/11, what did they do? They started arming the pilots. And if you wanted to be a pilot that was armed, you went to school. And I was actually able to see some of this training at 6 Hour Academy years ago when they were training some of the pilots that opted to be in that class. And so they armed the pilots on the plane so you wouldn't breach the door.
I don't like that.
So if you breached the cockpit door, they wanted you to arm. So that means I saw some of the training, but I guess it'd be bad for people who have first class seats.
You don't like that, Buck?
No, I don't like that idea.
No,
No, because it's the same thing. If the co-pilot ain't got a bad day, they in there arguing, and he blow his brains out, we going down. So why we got died because of y'all dispute?
And then
Wow.
we'll talk about this also. So part of the jobs that we do is in our company, we're one of the only, maybe there are two others that I can think of, we're one of the only armed security companies that are allowed to, work in the Philadelphia school system. We work in charter schools.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what we've noticed over the years of working in charter schools, doing security, armed security, and sometimes unarmed. So it's different from when I was in school. I'm kind of old. So you have teachers who are 23, 24 years old, and then you have students who are up to 21 years old because they have a special ed IEP. So they're almost the same age as these teachers, right? So these teachers may not be from an urban area, maybe they are. So they're almost the same age. But I'll tell you what happens, because when we're called into work at a school, it's probably because some violence has already jumped off. And what we notice is the same thing that happened in Texas. Teachers know what's happening. The administration know what's happening. The janitor knows what's happening. You all know who the bad kids are. So this particular kid, he was truant, hadn't been to school that much for 2 years. He was bullying other kids. He was making threatening stuff on Facebook, but no one addressed it. And he has all of these signs of violent behavior. I'm telling you, when we're working in schools, the teacher's telling you, watch out for that person. Watch out for that group of kids. We're there a day or two, they done pointed everyone out. So it's in every school everywhere. You even know about the coworker. If you had a place and a coworker goes off, he was crazy. He was, always off the wall.
So you're saying it can be prevented?
It can be prevented because people know. Is the training there? You have people who are mandated reporters who don't report. Who don't report. Then when a problem happens, this kid killed these people, and the same day, he was a problem. I stopped being friends with him. I known him since I was 5. He hadn't been to school in 2 years. He kept coming up to the school threatening us. He stalked the girls. He scared everybody. He started fights. He just killed these kids and murdered himself. But it was a problem.
You know what that sounds like to me? The guns aren't the problem. People are.
People are the problem. But
people are the problem.
Listen, we leave this gun here on this table. It's not a problem. If no one touches it for 100 years, it'll be right there.
Right.
From going to the gun class, you have to pick it up, aim it, look, you know what I mean? An intent to do some harm to somebody with it. And then you guys have mentioned it earlier about the music, the videos, but there has to be some other kind of disconnect, because they have mob movies and gangster movies from the Untouchables to James Cagney and forever.
But it's like,
but it's the music.
Yeah,
and it's
so
something different.
Scarface, like Jay-Z said, Scarface the movie did more than Scarface the rapper to me.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. With
The movie made me want to hustle.
Yeah, but with the rap today, it's like, it's so touch your soul. Music always touched your soul.
Yeah.
That's what it was for. So, like they were saying, when you got music, Marvin Gaye and all that, make you want what? You want to get some yams. So, now that's all they promoting is we got to do a drill and how many people you killed and all that old crazy stuff, right? So it's like the whole Philadelphia is on like high tense, and everybody got an attitude about anything. Like
I agree, man.
Yeah, it could trigger anything. Can really trigger a situation. So it's like, I think the whole city need therapy or something, man.
But then you're talking about multiple cities, multiple urban areas. But once again, you have all these raps, and I don't know with the ops and all that stuff. I'm too old to figure out all this stuff. But you see this rap stuff, and then people will go kill someone in some neighborhood. You think the teachers don't see that? Kids showing them, they know it. They're not reporting it. There's no intervention.
So these teachers are part of the problem too. Then they're part of the problem.
But then what happens is, what about the parents? That's your killer son.
Yeah.
That's your killer nephew.
Yeah.
They're in your house.
But
You
a
aren't reporting.
lot of them don't got no parents too. But
Okay.
yeah, and then you know, this generation, they got babies raising babies now, so it's totally different. It's not people that's 40 something like going around killing them crazy.
And I've watched some mothers, and I've watched older dudes like, young and a demon, man. Ooh, young and me.
Like,
why are you praising that, man?
Promoting that nut shit.
Yeah, why are you old heads praising that? Like, that's nothing to praise. Pull a young boy to the side or something, man.
It's the same as every time I go on the internet, I gotta hear somebody talk about how much time I just did 10. Like with the Mano and all that shit, they like, I did 10 years. Oh, you did. Like it's a badge of honor. Yeah. It's nothing thorough about you got caught.
That's because how we came up, going to jail was like a badge of honor. Like, the kids that go to college, like, damn, so-and-so went to college, but that's it. But so-and-so coming home, or, woo, he just went to jail. All that work, he got the body. Yeah, it's like, and they be rewarding, like, they reward these dudes, like, hit them with paper.
And you're right. They'll get them paper when they come home.
Not the college kids.
Not the college. They know they struggling. They hungry up there every day. Trying to get out.
And they can make a difference. We think so backwards, man.
Backwards, man.
That's the effect. That's the Willie Lynch effect. That's what's going on.
So you say it's the Willie Lynch effect?
Yeah, like, because if you ever read that book?
Yeah, but it's not true.
You don't think it's true?
No, it's just been proven it's not true.
So you don't think all this stuff is systematic?
Oh, it's systematic, but that book itself is not true. That book is only about maybe 30, 40 years old.
Right.
It didn't exist before then. It's not from that time. That's a new invention.
So that's somebody that just looked at some stuff
and
just
they put it together,
there.
an anonymous author. But some of the stuff in it is, it makes sense. But
it makes a lot of sense.
It's not something that was done that way, per se. That book isn't from that time. That book is a fabricated thing. It makes sense. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
So you don't think it's a mental effect, right? It's a long generational thing that's mentally affecting our men and our boys, because our boys are learning from men who don't have it together. And then instead of these older men trying to, like, listen, youngin', that ain't it. I've been there. I've done that. It's like, youngin', here, take this. Go spin that joint. Wet everything up, or here, put a pack in my hand.
Before I forget, there are two
instead
things,
of a book.
Before I forget, there are two things I wanted to state to you guys that are different. That's along with what you were just saying. So there's a study out that's been out for quite a while, and there are multiple studies, but this is one of I'll give you a succinct version of what the study is.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in the concrete jungle, the urban city, you live in a high rise, there are no playgrounds, no grass, no trees in your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You take the projects, high rises, in any urban city. In the summertime, your crime rate is 20 to 30% higher because the temperature is that much higher. It's 20 to 30 degrees higher because there's no trees and grass. So you from back in the day when we were kids, you're in a fan, you can't get no sleep, you hot and sweaty. You know what I mean? When you were little kids, you're hot and sweaty in the urban jungle, you got the window open, so you hear all the noise. People aren't going to sleep at night, they're outside on the stoop. People are irritable, and crime will be more in the summertime because the temperature is higher, because there are no trees, parks, or anything like that. As opposed to an area like Mount Airy or a suburban area where there's cool spaces, trees, it keeps the temperatures 20 degrees lower. The crime is different there. That's one study. The other thing is that someone had brought to my attention the other day. You take I'm a dog lover. I have dogs, raised dogs. So what happens is you'll take a group of puppies or grown dogs. You holler at one, and what does he do? He turns on the other one right next to him. You hollering at one dog, because he can't take it out on you, the master.
Wow.
We are in our own confined spaces, and we can't take it out on the masters. We take it out on each other.
Wow.
And that's the black on black crime, right?
That's deeper than the ocean
Those are the
floor.
two things that I wanted to get to you guys today. So when we take the problem of crime and we'll say, well, why isn't the old head or the OG teaching? There aren't a lot of men in the family, and young men are being raised by women. The home is broken, you know what I mean? And there are a lot of different reasons. We already know that there's a famous case, and we know it like the back of our hand. They give these standardized tests, 3rd grade, 5th grade, 7th grade, and PSA, whatever the tests are called.
Right.
And they build prisons based on the inner city kids passing or failing that 3rd grade test. They know in 15 years, they need prisons for them. They need a cell for them based on this 3rd grade test.
Wow.
We know in the 5th grade and 6th grade, we right on mark.
Wow.
And this is stuff that they told us and showed us and we know to be true.
Right.
But we aren't addressing that. So a lot of the times, a person has so much going on, trying to pay his bill, raise his kids, keep a job, this, that, and the other. We're missing so much of the other stuff. You know what I mean? So you have education, you have financial, you have medical, you have all these array of all these problems that you have to counteract. And you're just trying to keep food on your table and this, that, and the other. And stuff is just going downhill. But isn't that deep?
Yeah.
They know this and study this by not putting trees in parks. And what do? They close the recreation centers.
All of them.
They close them
Wow.
in our neighborhoods. But out there, they got soccer field. You rob out here, man, they got fields that look like stadiums out here.
Yeah.
You know? But in the city, nothing. And then you have your sports teams. You know, we spend our money and Sixers this, the Eagles this, the Warriors this, and this, that, and the other. Nothing.
It's a pacifier.
Game tickets are $100, $100+. We on the floor. Nothing for your neighborhood, nothing for your kids. And this is a problem. There's a study that was done a few years ago where they said that young black boys sitting in class, because of budget cuts, they've gotten rid of recess and gym in a lot of schools.
Yeah.
So how do you have an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old
With no
sit in
break.
school all day? All he gets is a lunch break. There's no recess. You're an adult. You get cigarette breaks at work. You get 2 15-minute breaks. You take longer on your lunch. But you're saying this 7-year, 8-year-old kid sitting in school and can't get a break? And then he has no recess
schools
and
is
no
like prisons
gym
now.
to burn up the burnt energy. So you want to say he got ADD, ADHD, put him on Ritalin. He needs this, he needs that. And you're just dooming him to fail.
All right.
That's not at the other schools, but that's at your school. So you take a charter school and, they build a charter school, they put it in a nice package and they make it new. See, we come from the area where there were maybe 300-400 schools, period. And there are like 900, 1,200, 1,000 Philadelphia schools between charter and public.
Right.
And the population is less than what it was, right? And these schools are trash. So they show them to the moms. It's a nice package, a nice school uniform, but the same piss poor education, right? Then everyone has all the information at the fingertips, but they write it in 160 characters or less. No more reading, writing, or this, that, and the other. All the emojis and this, that, and the others.
So let me say this: the whole city right now is on like high alert, and people scared to come outside or whatever. A lot of people is purchasing new gun owners, and they don't even know how to use their guns or whatever.
Nor any gun law. When you should
Right.
shoot, when you should not
Right.
shoot. What's the definition of deadly force and lethal force?
So you got a gun class coming up, right?
June 18th, we have a gun class. But I'll tell you what happens. I have to talk to you guys. We're going to put something together because from 2005 and until still recently, but until 2013, till Kathleen Kane changed the law, we would teach, a couple thousand people a year gun laws.
Right.
And that was a requirement for Florida carry permit, which had reciprocity here in Pennsylvania. Virginia had reciprocity, and Utah had reciprocity. Some of those
had.
Yeah, she changed it as she became Attorney General. So they no longer have reciprocity unless they reside in that state. They were non-resident permits. So you can live in Philadelphia and you can get a permit from Florida, and that would allow you to carry here in Pennsylvania. She called it the loophole. So they closed that. So they'll only accept a Florida permit if you have a Florida address.
So not if you have a Philadelphia one.
Not if you have a Philadelphia
Florida.
address, but you can have a Philadelphia address, still get that Florida permit.
That's what I was
And it
saying.
will still give you reciprocity in other states. It just won't give it to you here in Pennsylvania.
But you got your Pennsylvania one already.
But if you have your Pennsylvania already, but if you don't have your Pennsylvania and get a Florida if you travel. It gives you greater coverage. Okay. So I'm an advocate of people having more than one permit besides your home state. But those states required you to learn self-defense. You had to demonstrate in front of an instructor that you could handle a gun safely. They covered it. And Florida and Utah really covered a lot of laws.
Right.
Really covered an insane amount of laws. You know what I mean? Florida, I think Utah was at least a 4-hour class, and I know Florida takes a few hours to get through that class. You know? So, like I said, there are other states that have permits. And even though we know this particular incident, South Street had 2 permit carry holders, they don't know the laws in the background like some of the other states do.
Right.
You know?
Because for one, that boy with the white shirt wasn't supposed to pull out at all unless he was busting from the gate.
There was no reason for threat.
There was no danger.
He committed a crime.
So he was going to jail anyway, y'all saying?
He was committing a crime. Even if he had beat the boy, that's aggravated assault.
Right.
You beat the person, you didn't shoot him with the gun, but that's aggravated assault.
Right.
By showing the gun in a threatening manner, that's a crime, you know? Mm-hmm. So he's a legal gun owner who wouldn't have been, but with how the things turned out, but he's breaking the law.
Right. So do you think before getting a gun license, some people should take a mental test to show their mental capacity? Or because if you got a mental issue, I don't think you should have a gun license.
So
if something's wrong with you mentally.
So this is what happens. They've been, before the government does something, they're thinking about it years in advance. Mm-hmm. So if a person, depends on how old you are, what you remember, marijuana is a federally prohibited drug.
Right.
So you can't have a marijuana card and buy a gun.
Right.
It prohibits you.
Right.
Right? So marijuana was legal, I think, in Colorado first, many years ago. But I'm telling you, are you a habitual user of marijuana? Has been on a gun form maybe 8, 9 years, 10 years, and marijuana wasn't even legal in all these states. They already knew, and they haven't changed the form. They change them every couple years, but they haven't changed it. So they already knew what was coming down the pike.
Right.
So what happens, I think years ago they were saying, if you were mentally ill or were committed or 302'd or took some medicine, they ask you on the gun form,
right,
do you have these things? People say no. But there's no way, they haven't built a system where it cross-checks, where the information is mingled. But what happens is, how do you not know how to use a gun, but you need to take a driver's license and you need to take a test in all 50 states. Mm-hmm. There is nowhere in America that you can legally just drive a car without getting a license. People do it, you know what I mean? But, so how do you own a gun? They don't check to see if you know how to shoot it. Do you know any gun laws or anything?
That's ass backwards.
So, but this is what we're on. So we're arguing different things, and people are looking, but they aren't looking at the big picture.
You're actually giving them some solutions. Like, there's things you're saying that can actually help. You're saying things that can help. Like, why not take a class before you get the gun permit?
Absolutely.
Why not? Like you said, you can't drive a car. So why not take a test to get the gun?
So I'll give you an example. So I've been a licensed gun carrier in Pennsylvania since I was 21, right? So a long time ago. So we used to apply for the gun permit, and they changed it to match the rest of the state, and I kind of agree with that, but I think maybe the rest of the state should have matched Philadelphia. Philadelphia used to be able to write their own gun laws. They were sued, and they're no longer able to do so. So when I first got my gun permit, this is what they did. You go apply at the 55th and Vine. That was the only place you could apply for a gun permit. So this is many years ago. You go apply, you fill out the application. You couldn't get the gun permit unless you carried large sums of money and you did business that required a lot of cash. Then you fill out the application, you take your bank statements, bank records, 6 months to prove that you carried this cash.
Right.
Then you either took your shooting test at Coliseumos on Spring Garden, or you had to go to the police academy, and they would give you 10 bullets and tell you to go down there. They set a target up for you, stand 10 yards back, I believe, and you had to shoot those 10 bullets and bring your target back, and they'd score it. If you didn't pass the test, they didn't go further. Then the other thing they did was this. They come and ask your neighbors, the detectives, 2 on each side of the block. They pick them and say, do you mind if this guy, if he had a permit to carry or carry the gun?
That's how it used to be?
That's how it used to be, right?
That was wild.
So then, we'll take what Buck said earlier, and states like Texas and Florida, and I believe Utah, I know those for certain, and Virginia, those in particularly, they do statistically test stats yearly on how many legal gun owners actually commit a crime. The number is extremely low, less than 1%.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? A legal gun owner very rarely, commits crime with his gun. It's infinitesimal, small, right? But if you kill one person, it's important. You know what I mean? But it's a small number. The percentage is under 1%, and they've been studying this for many, many, many years.
Right.
And you can look it up online, and you can see it yourself. But we have this information, and we're not putting it to use. You have mandatory reporters who aren't reporting. You have school officials and teachers, people who know stuff's happening. People in the neighborhood know stuff happening, and people are not telling until afterwards. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no intervention.
So you guys are part of the problem.
Part of the problem. There aren't enough recreational things. There aren't enough safe corridors. And there aren't enough. I'll give you another story, but I could talk about this all day. I remember when I had my gun permit, and
before?
No, when I had it, at one point in time in my life.
You don't have it no more?
Yeah, I still have it. I keep one. I'm not going home anywhere without it. And I think I got about 4 or 5 of them. I got a pocket full of them. So what happens? I was working, and my wife at the time was pregnant, and I had to take a second job. So I was working at a car dealership selling cars, and I was delivering the New York Times and the Washington Post at night, 7 days a week, right? So what happens is you arrive by places, Girard College Wall, that area in particular, and the other area is Queen Village, where they had the South Street shooting, right? I'm delivering the newspaper there. I'm 21, 22 years old. And they had town watches. By Girard College Wall, they would ride on roller skates and patrol the area. So I'm delivering the newspaper 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and they're out there town watch.
On roller skates.
Roller skates, that was the town watch. And I'd be delivering the New York Times and the Washington Post. And then at Queen Village, they had town watch,
Right.
So they don't bring back the town watch. So this is like the time with the guardian angels and all this stuff. But they had town watches.
They trying to come back to. I get back to that story, but go ahead, finish your story.
But they don't have town watches anymore. And then the last famous town watch we're probably going to remember will be George Zimmerman. And what he did to Trayvon Martin, he was a little bit zealous.
He was town watch?
He was town watch, but he was overzealous.
He racially profiled.
Yeah, he racially. Yeah. But there are a lot of things that have changed that we may need to get back to, and these are the things that are going on.
So I seen the Guardian Angels trying to make a comeback, right? Mm-hmm. But they're in areas. It's a bunch of white guys. They're in black areas trying to patrol crime.
I don't think that was them. I think that was just the boys talking shit.
You
down Fishtown and all that.
Yeah, with the red hats on.
I think they just was talking shit, like just trying to save black. You know what I mean? Just on that type of time.
So it was a time when I was coming up, the brothers actually made the neighborhood safe.
Absolutely.
The brothers, it was on my dad's side of the family, most of my uncles were Muslim. So the way they would take care of the neighborhood was so different. It was like that the village, how you say it take a village
to raise a child.
Mm-hmm. But they were like they would see me, I remember Lamadine caught me throwing rocks or something, doing something real crazy, hey, come on, let's go. Took me to my mom. That's not happening now.
Yeah, because people mind their business, because one of these little niggas to shoot you, you in their business.
I get it, but we was a little crazy too.
Yeah, but not like
Not
this,
like
man.
that.
They
Not
don't
not
care.
like that. I think, and this might be the crack baby era too. They said it would be a very violent time by the time crack babies became older.
Yeah.
Then we'll take this also into consideration, and it happened before. So when I'm telling you guys to know your history and remember what's going on and study history, so the crime bill that Joe Biden and Bill Clinton and those guys, signed before. So this is what happens, right? Joe Biden was in Congress, Bill Clinton was the president. So when our neighborhoods get so hyper violent, then we'll ask for the help to be over policed. So that's when you start targeting, profiling, and sending the men back to prison again.
Yeah.
Right? So that destroys the family, the women, the children. It does a whole lot of social ills. So when you say they may be dumping the guns in the street or this, that, and the other,
Did you hear?
they say on South Street that the police didn't make any arrests.
Yeah,
They
No.
didn't stop anyone. And they're just since the pandemic, they're just letting crime run buck wild.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to come to a point where we're going to say, hey, we need help. We need this. We need that. And they reverse some of the crime bill stuff, but they'll bring it back again because we're going to say these kids are too violent. And everyone's going to be calling for that, but that's when it violates everyone.
So you think it's designed to pass these bills?
It's going to come a time, listen, it's so bad, schools are bad, everything's bad.
It makes sense.
And
It makes sense.
They're going to say, listen, we need help. This place is hyper violent. And then you know what happens for gentrification. Right before they gentrify an area, they let the crime run wild.
Yep.
Then-
Where there's blood, there's gold.
Then when they revitalize the area, hey, this was the area that was so bad. Now it's not bad. Why is,
Always the case.
And when they're going to regentrify an area, sometimes we can drink out of lead-filled pipes that are 150 years old. They can't. So when they come through the neighborhood and do the pipes and dig up the streets,
Yeah.
it's about to be on.
Yeah.
Home prices about to soar. You're almost out of there.
A bank, a Starbucks, a Whole
Did you hear
Foods.
something about the martial law coming or no?
Nah.
I thought I heard some.
Yeah, they was talking about it because the South Street thing made CNN, and they were talking like something needs to be done. Like they wanted to have Philadelphia in a police state because it was so crazy, and they kept saying mass shooting, which in my opinion, and people might get mad at me, when you fire into a crowd of people, that's a mass shooting. Even though you trying to get somebody else, but you fired into a crowd of people, that is a mass shooting.
Okay. Well, you say you had the gun class coming up. I mean, how can people reach you if they want to join in time? Or is it already booked up?
This class for next Saturday, I think I have about 4 spots left.
Okay.
But by the time this comes on, it should be a couple
Because
people.
I'll have 1 or 2.
Yeah, so what happens is the people can reach me, the Parapet Group, 215-519-3957. My email is theparapetgroup35@gmail.com, or the Instagram page is just starting to learn how to work this stuff. I think a month ago I made my first reel, so I'm trying to start learning, man. But Parapet Group at Instagram, and you'll be able to find us. And the information is out there. There are other places you can get information, but my thing is just to go get trained. Right. You drive your car, but you will carry your gun for months and months, or not carry because you haven't got trained. But once again, the gun show is tomorrow, the 10th through the 12th at Oaks. Ghost guns are going to be sold. Guns by the thousands are going to be sold because of these shootings. High capacity magazines are going to be sold at an unbelievable rate and for a lot of money because people are going to be like, a ban is coming.
Right.
Excuse me, more people are going to buy semi-automatic rifles right now because they're going to anticipate a ban is coming. And the bans may not come. So it also happened in 2008 when Barack Obama won the election. He won in November. From November to January, before he got inaugurated, man, they sold guns at an unbelievable rate because we thought he was going to ban them. And he never could and he never did, you know? But just, I got fleeced that time, during that time, thinking it was going to be true. So I this time learned to wait through it. Like I said, 94 through 98, I lived through the Brady Bill. It didn't affect me because I had a permit to carry, but they had a 5-day wait, and guns still sold at an unbelievable clip. And like I said, 800 million to almost 1 billion guns here in this country. You're not going to get rid of guns anytime soon.
So can they, besides you actually doing the gun class, can they contact you for anything else, like for the knowledge or training of how to use the gun, or if it's enough people, will you bring that class back? Or
I think I'm getting requests for people to bring back the law class.
Yeah.
So it was a 4-hour class, and we taught about all kinds of law, gun considerations on what you should do. What should you do about when the police stop you? How should you store your gun if you have children or you have kids over? Where you can get training, and we'd go through scenarios, and we go through gun laws, and specifically Pennsylvania laws. How do you travel with your firearm? These are the things that we discussed in the class, and I did the class for years, and I think I'm going to start to bring them back.
All right, well, let's get it. It's been real.
It's been really real,
It's been
man.
informative. I hope y'all got all the information y'all need.
Yes.
It's your boy King Jones 80.
It's your boy Wiz Gam.
We signing out like last time.
Don't forget to register to win these portable studios.
That part.
We only talk about it if it's stamped. Coming from a certified camp. Honorable mention where the real don't bend. We salute the stand-up type on all 10. Just keeping it a buck, not dealing with fake trends. This is certified, it's so certified. Got Blizz back in the playtime, Brady type. And Buck got his ear to the streets, we gon' eat. With Tiff on that fashion, we ain't lacking. Me, I'm a music man, check my stats. With legendary access, boy, that's no cap. What you thought? We ain't doing it for sport. Welcome to Certified Talk.
Yeah.